You're welcome. Test.
Welcome into the Sports Buffoons Podcast. Back in once again to the Sports Buffoon Studios. Tanner, we got a weird echo going on already. What the heck's going on with this place?
You know, I don't know.
Great. The IT guy kicking off the Buffoon show, and it's all messed up. He doesn't know what the hell is going on, but I do.
We're good now.
It's a gosh darn Wednesday night, which means we're talking some sports ball with you guys once again. I got JG to my left, Tanner to my right. So how's it going, fellas?
Good. We're good.
Good?
I'm
Just good.
just got
going
done
great,
with
man. Good Wednesday.
Just got done with the root canal about
Right.
an hour ago, so I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
You got done with the root canal. I just made some money at the casino,
Right.
and you know, so it's good start to the night so far.
That's
Yeah,
right.
Very, very nice. I had a pretty good night Monday night. Went to a concert and all that. I
That's
had a
good.
great time. My dog ate 3 boxes of Girl Scout cookies, so
Ooh,
he was feeling real bloated after all that.
bet he
so.
felt good after that one.
It's 2,000 calories worth of Girl Scout cookies, and like 275 grams of carbs. So for a dog, I don't know if that's a good idea or not, but his belly was tight afterwards, so he had to relieve himself. Luckily it was not on the furniture, so that was the good news. That was surprising news, actually. But no, anyways, guys, obviously today we're talking about the draft, March 1st, kicking it off strong. As you guys know out there, we will be at the NFL draft in Kansas City, hopefully getting some cool footage for you guys. I don't know that I can bring the drone with me, but we'll see what we can get away with, I guess.
Well, some people brought it for the parade down there, so
Yeah.
but it was a smaller one that they had.
Also, if there's going to be like 600,000 people, I don't know if I
Do you
want.
really
I
wanna
don't
bring it,
know if
though?
I want people seeing my drone in the air. I don't know what they're going to be up to, so maybe we'll pass on that part. But
We do got some cool things planned here. I got some little bit new toys for this draft process here that we got to test out probably tonight. So super excited for it.
yep, I know you guys got some NBA discussion too. We just saw my boy Kevin Durant play his first game as a Sun. Went very, very well. He put up 23. I think he had like 5 rebounds, 2 assists, something like that in a Suns victory. So I'm happy with that outcome, obviously. But guys, you heard the big news about Jalen Carter that came out this morning.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's bad timing for a prospect like this. The guy's rated as the #1 prospect on most people's boards, and just an absolute dominant animal on the D line. Kind of one of those guys we look at and could be the next big up and coming defensive lineman that could take over football games. As far as the overall height, weight, speed.
Yep, he was
all the
number 1 on
physicals.
my list too.
Right. It sucks to see this kind of thing happen to a guy, but especially for something that happened, what was it, a few months past? Is that
Yeah,
right?
just after, I think it was just after the championship game,
Right.
right? The parade or whatever it was.
Yeah. And obviously, so the story is he was apparently racing with one of his teammates.
Yep.
And a lady ended up getting killed in a car accident at that point in time.
I thought it was a couple people.
I think it was a couple of people.
Yeah.
But I think there was one in the car with his teammate that was racing. He was racing with. He ended up somehow escaping the scene at the moment or whatever, and was not someone that was of a suspect for at least a time period. But I think things got sorted out. Things got found, and now he's looking at some trouble potentially because there's been some talks if he's really was a part of this, then he could face jail time.
He really could.
So if you're an NFL team, we're going to talk about the Chicago Bears for a little bit today, and that #1 overall pick. I mean, I think they were going to trade down anyways, but if there was any other team that had him as their #1 prospect, now at this point, there's no way you can be thinking like that.
That's all out the door.
Right. So anyways, what do you guys overall think about this situation? Because I don't think you can leave Jalen Carter at #1 anymore.
No, what do you got?
Well, I mean, so defensive tackle, a great prospect, lot of information that we don't know. Okay. So guy obviously made a mistake. They were doing some racing in the road and
Made a big
Yeah, I mean,
mistake. It's Henry
yeah.
Rugg style, man.
And they drove into oncoming traffic too. So
Yeah.
they were going real
Right.
wild and out out there.
huge mistake. As a matter of fact, we got a lot of people making mistakes. Ja Morant came out that he got into a scuffle. We all know about Alvin Kamara getting into a scuffle. And so
Mhm.
we've got some professional athletes out there making some mistakes. I think obviously, Jalen Carter is going to slide down that draft board. Somebody's going to get a steal though. And I
don't
think
think anybody drafts him
At all?
at all.
he's going to get
Well,
drafted.
Yeah, I mean,
He's going to get drafted. I think he'll
Like,
probably get drafted still in the third
If
round.
there's a sentencing by the end of April,
Oh.
before the end of April, it's
Sure.
not going to happen.
I would agree with that.
I'm thinking
I'd
once
be surprised
you-
if it goes that fast though. You know how these processes
No, they take
take forever. I think there's going to be a team that at least takes a stab on him somewhere, second or third round if he's there.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm
dude,
going that high.
this is probably what, involuntary manslaughter. I mean, he's going to get off the hook. He's going to get drafted. So, I mean, somebody's going to get a steal. And quite frankly, I mean, the Chiefs
no.
could get a steal on this
Stop.
guy.
I don't
Stop.
think this is a Chris Jones replacement or
This
something
is-
like
yeah.
that.
We don't want that.
I'm not going to go that far, and I don't think that.
But how does
knowing this organization itself too? I mean, as much as we like to go after guys like in the past, we got Tyreek Hill, obviously. That was a
How-
pretty different situation
Okay,
that
so-
came to light down the road anyway.
So how does a guy like this get drafted, and yet Henry Ruggs is out there being released from Raiders for going to jail and prison?
Wow.
But how do you take a guy like this though,
Well, okay.
and knowing
So,
that what he did?
so first of all, Henry Ruggs was drunk. Okay. So we don't know if Jalen. We know
What does
that
it matter?
we know that alcohol was
Wow.
involved in the other vehicle, but we don't know if alcohol was involved
What
in,
does it
in
matter?
Jalen Carter's vehicle. Because if he was sober,
That
dude,
doesn't
people-
mean nothing.
if people drag race all the time,
Yeah, but when you
Doesn't
put
make it
others in
right.
safety, others in danger like that,
It's-
you are the driver. It is your responsibility. You're the one charged.
the last
in
time
the
I
end.
checked, Dante Stallworth killed somebody while driving drunk, and then he played another NFL game.
I don't
after
think he
that.
did.
I will say it's still different whether or not Jalen Carter was intoxicated or not in this situation. Henry Ruggs was going like 170 miles an
He
hour,
was.
and then just rear-ended a car and immediately killed both a woman
It's a
and a dog.
completely different
It's not
situation.
And
Yes,
Lives
it
were
is.
lost
what
due to
Ruggs-
a dangerous situation by the driver.
Well,
Dude,
Ruggs did was
the
just-
people in the other vehicle were drunk. Okay,
It doesn't matter what it
it
doesn't
does matter.
It matters for Jalen Carter participating into that involvement, causing the lives that are lost because he was the sole responsible. He was behind the wheel. It's his responsibility.
which
in
is
the end.
why he could still face jail time, but it will not be nearly as severe.
Not
if
as severe
that's the
as
case
Ruggs.
as what Ruggs
I'm
was.
telling you right now, it's involuntary manslaughter, dude. And we all know that NFL prospects and NFL players, even if they get charged for that, there's going to be a deal that gets done. The guy will still, even if he doesn't get drafted, dude, he could still be a star in the NFL. So somebody's going to get a
yeah.
steal on this guy. My whole point is that, like,
the Raiders.
we've seen guys make mistakes before. You know, Kareem Hunt made a mistake. He still became a productive NFL player. Okay. So just because you make mistakes in your personal life doesn't mean that you're not going to be a productive NFL player. And that's my point here. So
Did Ray
whether
Rice ever play again after?
Nope,
what
he
did?
never
Yeah,
played
okay.
again.
I think
Soon as the video showed,
sure. As soon as
The
that was
elevator
Again,
it was game over.
never played
at that
again.
point.
but there was a Kareem Hunt video. You know what the difference is? Ray Rice was an old bum. Kareem Hunt
no,
still had a lot left in the tank.
the Chiefs had to cut him
No.
and let him go. He ended up facing. He didn't play for another half a season, right? Because he was suspended
Sure,
by the
yeah,
NFL.
well, right. Of course, no one wanted to deal with that. There was no reason
Because the
for it.
Chiefs cut him for
But I mean-
being first off dishonest about the situation.
You got a
all
situation like Joe Mixon though that was worse than Ray Rice, and he was drafted. I mean, it didn't matter, and he's been a productive player in the NFL ever since. And I know yes, punching a woman is different from getting in a car and killing someone.
Like he didn't kill anybody either. So
I know, I
Multiple
understand
people.
that, but at the same time, there was also another driver in this situation. Carter may have just been an accomplice to the
So
situation.
not to get too far off topic. So Tanner, what do you think about Ja Morant punching a teenager 16 times?
I haven't even looked.
Do you
at
think
this thing.
he should be out of the NBA
I haven't
forever?
even looked at this thing.
You know he's not going to be out of the NBA.
I didn't even see this
There-
article.
he's
yet.
going to get a slap on the wrist,
Can
and
I
I'm
see it?
telling you that's exactly what's going to happen to Jalen Carter.
So what's the story on the John Morant? Because I haven't even looked into this thing.
He's got multiple incidents, but the one that I heard was that he was in a pickup game and he ended up punching a teenager like 13 or 16 times or something like that. Keep in mind, guys, like these are all allegations. And even when we bring up Jalen Carter, these are just allegations. All right. So we don't know the real story behind what happened. The bottom line is that I'm
Allegation that he was behind the wheel
could have been completely sober.
doesn't matter. I don't.
So
get
yeah,
it.
I think it does matter to an extent
I
in
don't
that
get it.
situation.
He could have been completely sober. We already know that the person behind the wheel, of the other vehicle, was drunk, way over the limit. We already know that. So context does matter. My point to you is that I'm getting sick and tired of people in the media and otherwise. We judge all these players based on one mistake that happens in their personal life. Meanwhile, all of those people that judge these professional athletes, if they just look in the mirror every once in a while, they might have a different take. Because if you're like a perfect snowflake out there in the world, you've got the right to judge some of these professional athletes. But if you're not perfect, just keep your damn mouth shut. Okay. These people, sometimes they make mistakes, but it might just be one mistake and they learn from it. Right. So we need to give
One
him credit.
massive mistake where lives were lost.
Yeah, but you know what? He might learn from that mistake and he might become a better person. So I'm not
Yeah, he
here.
Probably will be.
I'm not here to trash professional
It's
athletes.
not hard to be a better person behind the wheel instead of drag racing.
I'm not here to trash professional athletes and say that person's career should be over and his life should go into the shitter based on one mistake. And people are going to sit there and say, oh, he's not going to learn from that. Just take all of his money and make him pay for it. I mean, people make mistakes. They learn from it. We should allow them to learn from their mistakes. That's my whole
What about
fucking
Henry
point.
Ruggs?
It's different, dude.
How is it different? Lives were lost in the car. A guy driving fast, making poor
He
decisions.
was intoxicated.
Making poor decisions. It doesn't
And
fucking
he's
matter.
He was
170
It
miles
intoxicated.
an hour.
doesn't matter.
It does matter.
Lives were lost. He was at the helm.
It does matter because he was
Doesn't matter. I
intoxicated.
don't care if he was high, if he was drunk. It doesn't
Henry
matter.
Ruggs should be out of the NFL forever. You know why? Because he
Correct.
was intoxicated.
No. That's the
Everything
only-
else we're talking about,
You're
like John
telling me-
Morant,
You're telling me anything blood level wise, right? Being intoxicated, high, or whatever. That's your only solution to reprimanding these
I am
guys?
telling you, if he was driving sober and he was drag racing, yes, he made a mistake.
That's
and
the
he should be
dumbest
punished for
reason,
that.
dude.
He should be punished for
Dumbest.
that.
Yeah,
But
not
the
being
problem-
drafted, banned from the NFL, see in prison, dude.
He should be punished for that. But you know what? I'm sick and tired of all these snowflakes that all they want to do is complain and say he should never see an NFL snap for
shouldn't
the
see an
rest
NFL
of
snap.
his
If
life.
he is guilty, he shouldn't see anything in the field. He shouldn't get paid that money. He shouldn't get that fame. He shouldn't get anything like that.
So you're telling me, Tanner, you do not believe in second chances in
I
life? Is that what
do.
you're telling me right
He
the
can
fuck
earn
now?
it, but it's not in the NFL. His
Oh,
second
give me a
chances is elsewhere,
break.
dude.
Give me a fucking break. A guy with
Elsewhere.
that talent, you're just going to trash his whole fucking career and say, oh, that's the same as Henry Ruggs.
If
Durr."
he is guilty of everything that they've said, yes, I will go ahead and trash his
I will
name.
give you that if his blood alcohol level,
I don't care about the blood alcohol.
if,
I
if he
care
was trashed,
that he is found guilty of driving that car and causing what happened.
if he
here
was
to lives.
trashed like Henry Ruggs, yes, I totally agree with you.
Care about that.
But if he was sober, it does matter.
No.
It does matter.
Yeah. Speaking of that, what are we sipping on today, guys?
I'm going to take it easy. I went with the Vitamin Water Zero tonight.
Very nice. Very
Vitamin
nice.
Water Zero.
What about you, Tater? What'd you get?
Just a black cherry pomegranate.
Dang, so we got a good sober show today. So
We do.
we're all rooting
Yeah, we
for
do.
Jalen Carter, hoping that he was sober in this accident that was caused. And I'm doing. I tried to do dry January, didn't work out, so I'm trying dry March.
I don't know why
So-
you tried that.
So I'm
month
drinking.
anyways.
I'm drinking nothing because I'm no liquids go in my body this whole month.
No
so-
alcoholic.
No, just no liquids at all.
Keith Engel out here saying shame on the NFL. I agree. And then Twofull, what's up, Twofull? You're out here. He says, "Oh shit, they splurged on some overlay, looking good." Actually, dude, this is all me right here, buddy. Killing
We
it.
just gotta get the lighting figured out, guys. That's the thing. We can make this work better. We'll get it figured out.
I need like 900 more lights in this dungeon.
We have more lights.
Switching from the black can to the silver
a
can, all
dungeon.
kinds of changing. Yeah, that's right, dude. Hitting women and abusing women is okay, I guess. It's not. You know it's not. But the NFL won't punish that correctly unless you're Ray Rice.
Okay, so that's another good example. So, did Joe Mixon not learn from his mistakes? Did you see him get
Well,
into
he-
trouble after that
He was
one
drafted
point?
in the second round.
Yeah, he was drafted.
So
in
he
the
was
second round.
drafted
He's,
right after that.
I'm saying he's been in the league for a long time.
Teams didn't get into it. Tyreek Hill
And
could be
that-
an other incident at the time before
And
we
I-
knew more
hey,
of the
Joe-
context.
So wasn't that
Joe
long ago?
Mixon-
Larry Johnson was also well known as going to clubs and spitting on women. I don't know how much hitting he necessarily did, but he was definitely an abuser of different kinds.
Joe Mixon is a perfect example of a guy that learned his lesson. He stayed out of trouble from there on out.
Twofull out here says you can't hit a woman. Ray Rice was bounced. You can, however, Ray Finkel that
Ray
shit
Rice
out of
sucked.
a woman, as Kareem Hunt showed us.
Dude, Ray Rice
Ray
sucked.
Rice didn't suck, dude.
He sucked at the point when that came out on
No.
video.
This was oh my god.
Well, I think to JG's point though is that you have a guy like Jalen Carter who has this entire career ahead of him. He's 21 years old, has this whole career ahead of him. He's going to be playing in a number one prospect at as well. Versus an old bum, the NFL. Yeah, unfortunately, the NFL is going to be biased towards the potential future stars. They're going to give them opportunities versus old bums or guys like Antonio Brown who run around acting like morons, and then you quit in the middle of a football game.
We're not even getting to
And
that.
Tanner-
at that point, they're over it. So there's like, no one wants to deal with your ass anymore.
Tanner, let me just give you an example right here, okay? I want to make it crystal clear. The difference between Joe Mixon and Ray Rice is One of the fuckers did it before his career started. The other fucker did it when he was past his prime.
That's fine.
That's why one fucker was out of the league and the other one got into the league. And he's a very successful player right now.
I understand age came into
Same
to
thing
the
with
part
Ruggs
of
and
it.
Jalen Carter. If we're doing that comparison,
Ruggs was still young.
no, Ruggs was already in the league.
Oh, that's what you're talking about.
Well, to Jason's
I'm talking
point,
age, like age. I understand
Sure.
Ray Rice was on the back end of his
we'd already
prime,
seen Ruggs
his-
and his shitty
running
hands.
back.
But he was already in the league when all this happened, whereas Carter has not been in the league yet. So that's why there's a difference, according to the way that the NFL views it. That's why he will get an opportunity and he will be drafted this year, as long as
Such a shame.
we find out that there was no alcohol involved.
Yes,
That's all it
that's
takes.
the
No
most
alcohol.
important
No,
thing.
but-
Yes.
I will say we do know that the woman involved who died was double the legal limit. So we know at least one
Oh, there we
person
go.
involved was.
Keep that here. That's right. Joe Mixon got in trouble this past year for aggravated menacing. Charges were all dropped. I mean, do you guys think nothing happened there? Like, this is a thing of Joe Mixon. This is a reason why he might be out of the league in a couple of years.
Well, it's going to be because he's an older running back. That's why he's going to be out of the league, Tanner.
Not for menacing, not for
No.
abuse or anything.
No, NFL right now, they want to keep things hush hush. They want to keep him playing in the league for another couple of years. And then when he's 30 something, and they're like, okay, we can get rid of him now. But they want to get the value out of him while they can, but for the product. Because it makes their league look bad if they, take care of it now. They'd rather just wash it under the rug. And then, when you get a little older, we can say, okay, you've done bad things in the past. Time for you to go.
As he gets past the money making stage.
He's already there.
So guys like Jalen Carter shouldn't get a chance if he's guilty. Not sober. I don't care about the alcohol level.
I agree with that. But you have to be found guilty in a court of law, not all of these snowflakes out there that want to speculate and say, oh my gosh, I've never made a mistake in my life. Let's just take this guy's career before it even gets started.
A lot of people probably haven't gone to that length of a mistake. So just think about that. I think, if somebody does draft him, that's the biggest chance in the world for that team. Because who knows what comes June, July, when, the courts do come and proceeds. If he is, he ends up not, going to prison or something. That's his career right there.
So what did you think about the time, the Ray Lewis situation where he was an accomplice to murder?
I couldn't even tell you about
I guess we would have been younger then.
we were younger
but
then.
and obviously
Didn't even cross my mind.
It was obviously he was a young up and coming linebacker, superstar stud who we all knew was
But
going to be amazing.
He was found not guilty though, right? Or am I
I think
wrong on that?
well, but that's what I mean. There was some charges that went through the process.
because I didn't
but
actually.
I think
I've never looked into
It's
that.
all pretty clear that he was an accomplice to the situation. I think there was some maybe buyouts that happened along the way to keep his name clear to things, and that's probably why he has this. He runs around, praising Lord and all that, probably because he's thankful for being allowed to be free. So I'm
gonna be honest. I never really looked
he
into
was
the
not
Ray
living
Lewis
that kind of a life when that happened originally.
We were young, and that's something I didn't even.
Dude, even I was too young to. I don't
Yeah.
even know. Like
The whole situation.
they squashed it really fast. Like I
Couldn't
don't
tell
even
ya.
remember that.
Couldn't tell you on that.
They don't want
side.
you to remember that either.
Keith likes your snowflakes, so I like it. That's funny.
Yeah. So, okay. All that stuff aside, you guys, as far as the Carter situation. So, sitting there with the number 1 overall pick, the Bears have already talked about being open to the idea of trading down, which makes all the sense in the world. It's because I don't think they're moving on from Justin Fields, and they shouldn't move on from him yet. The guy's 22 years old, and you should be building around what he does well. And that's the way. You don't give up on a guy this fast, especially you drafted a redshirt sophomore. You don't just draft a quarterback, put him on a crappy team, and say, "Oh, you're no good." You got to give him opportunities, and I think you got to surround this guy with more talent, defensively and offensively. So, with that said, if you're the Bears, you got to move back. And there's a few different partners that I think could be involved in this that I took note of earlier today, as a matter of fact. But I really like the idea of a few teams that need a quarterback number 1 overall, because at this rate, you might as well trade up for number 1 to get a quarterback. Otherwise, what's you going to do? Will Anderson, is that your guy, number 1 overall?
Yes,
Well, then at that point, you're letting the Texans just have their pick of the litter.
correct. I mean,
So-
that's why Chicago has to be smart about this one pick.
But here's the thing: the team that moves up to number 1 is stealing the quarterback that they want
Correct.
from the Texans, who they believe they'll
Correct.
be taking.
We're saying that Chicago Bears is going to trade back for somebody to be able to take Will Will Anderson. For the other team will take a
So,
quarterback.
so these three right here, who are all in the, or four, I should say, they're all in the top 10, make them a lot of sense to me. So they get the Colts at number 4 overall.
Don't like it.
Wouldn't take a lot to make it happen, but they need a quarterback for the future. They're going through this free agent carousel every damn year. It's getting old. If you're a fan of the Colts, you got to be frustrated as hell right now that you have Jonathan Taylor at running back, yet you're never going to give him a quarterback that you can grow with. Then you got the Las Vegas Raiders, number 7 overall.
Too far.
I mean, it's not too far to
It
move
is.
up to 1.
You
That's
got a
not too
team like
far.
Arizona who just lost J.J. Watt looking for an edge. You're going to lose your guy if you trade back that far. You're not going to have a shot at Will Anderson Jr.
So if you're the Raiders in that situation, or if you're McDaniels, you just say, okay, let's go ahead and get me fired. I mean, what are you doing? You got to make a move to keep your job.
I mean, it'd have to be a pretty move to jump that far back because
It's very doable.
you got guys like the Seahawks, you got guys like the Colts at the time in Arizona. I think all three could be in line if Will Anderson Jr. drops that far.
Well, who's trying to get Will Anderson Jr.?
I think the Bears are. The Bears should.
Look, I'm telling you right now, the Bears care about stockpiling picks off of this deal. They're not trying to trade back and get Will Anderson Jr. because tell you what, if a quarterback goes number 1, Texans might get him number 2. Whoever picks number 3,
Which is Arizona.
they'll get Will Anderson. They'll
I
get
know.
Will
That's what I'm
Anderson.
saying. Like that's why the
So you're
Texans
telling me
is the only match.
The only opportunity is to have the Texans jump you 1 spot.
Yep.
That is
I
ridiculous.
totally disagree
Unless
with
it's
that.
a pretty trade package,
No.
I would
Sam.
not take a chance. on
How
that.
great of a prospect do you think Will Anderson is the next Von Miller?
I
Because
think-
that's what you're saying. If he's Von Miller, then I could see it. But
I think he
you
could.
don't
be.
know. You
I
don't know
like
what it's
him.
going to be.
Well, no, but you never know in the draft.
Well, that's my point.
You never know what
you're-
Patrick
so
Mahomes
why
is gonna
pigeon-
be.
So why pigeonhole yourself and only allowing yourself to trade with the one team, the one directly behind you,
It
which
needs
you'll
to-
get nothing out of?
It needs to be a pretty package if you drop past 3. It needs to be a pretty package.
Well, no shit. It's the number 1 overall pick. But you have to take that into account whenever you're that team giving up that number 1 overall pick. You're trying to stockpile, not just for this year, but for next year too. You're probably going to want to get whoever's number 1 overall pick for next year too. So if you trade with the Colts, you're going to say, give me that 4 and give me that whatever you land at next year in the first round.
So you skip out. Let's say you go to the Colts, right? That's at number 4. Let's say the quarterback goes. Arizona takes, or Houston takes a quarterback. Arizona takes a Will Anderson Jr. And then now you're set here with Devon Witherspoon or Quentin John or not. Yeah, I mean, could be Quentin Johnson at that time. Miles Murphy on the D line. I mean, there's a bunch of other guys you could possibly pick at the 4 spot, but I mean, there's a big gap between Willie Anderson Jr., Jalen Carter, and the rest of the D line.
Gotcha. I get it. I mean, I understand that point, but it's not like the talent just disappears.
No,
I mean, this is an interesting draft in the way that, because now Jalen Carter is off the picture, you can go a wide variety of ranges, basically get best player available
which would be
from that point forward
Devon.
and,
Well,
and be happy, build, mold.
hopefully not a quarterback, but
So what about the Falcons? Any chance number 8 overall? Because they just released Marcus Mariota. I think that they're a pretty sad looking organization right now, and they got to do something to add to what they have offensively because there is some talented guys on that roster. Like, Kyle Pitts, we think still has talent. And then of course, our boy from USC had a pretty good season. I mean, you got to give those guys somebody with an arm that can get them the ball.
Too full says
So-
he forgets the Falcons.
I know
exist.
it's a very pathetic franchise right now with Atlanta.
To me, guys, it's going to come down to the Falcons or the Panthers. And if I'm the Bears, I agree with you, Mike. They should want to trade down as far as possible and stockpile as many picks as possible.
So 8 or 9.
And I'm looking at Carolina with the number 9 pick because I feel like they're the team that will have to give up more if they want to trade up to number 1. And so, and beyond that, like, let's just take the Raiders off the table because you guys know where I stand on the Raiders. Aaron Rodgers just came out of a dark black hole. He's already made up his mind. He's not going to tell anybody. He wants to play with Devontae Adams. And that's exactly what's going to happen. So let's take the Raiders off the table. I know they got the number 7 pick. Who cares? Aaron Rodgers going to the Raiders. So we'll take him off the table. I do believe it will be Carolina or the Falcons that move up to take that number 1 pick because, I mean, those are 2 pretty useless teams right now. So they got to make a splash.
Let me throw this at you. Let me throw this caveat at you. let's say the Bears decide not to move, and kind of what I said towards the end of this regular season on our show, they decided to go out and trade Justin Fields and get some draft picks from him. Is there a seller there? Is there a buyer there for that?
You're not going to get your value out of it for what you paid originally in the draft for Justin Fields right now. But that doesn't mean that he's worthless or to give up on him for that matter.
I thought we all agreed that he's the better quarterback out of all this class.
I don't think any of us have ever said that.
Oh, maybe that was a different show.
Well, I would say that Justin Fields is the proven commodity, and that's why you would not want to move off of him.
Correct.
We don't know
want to move off of him.
We don't know what these other assholes are going to do coming out of the draft. They could all be busts.
Correct.
All three of them, or however many you think are in there.
I'll tell you this: I would never trade Justin Fields to get Bryce Young.
No, I wouldn't.
I would never do that, even though Bryce Young is looked at by most people as the number one quarterback prospect.
Like I said, I'm keeping this theory alive because this Bears organization, the front office team that's in now, the head coach that's in now, did not draft Justin Fields. They're gonna, if not this year, next year, they're gonna go look for their guy if it's another disappointing season.
But what's the point though? So what makes Fields? If you come in as a new ownership, a new organization, new GM and coach, and so on, what makes you come into the situation and go, Fields, this isn't our guy. We just really like, a 5'10" Bryce Young, or we like Will Levis. We like CJ Stroud from Ohio State. Because those quarterbacks from Ohio State work out really, really well, don't they? You know what I mean? You want Cardell Jones again? You want Cardell Jones because that's what you're going to get.
That's what I'm saying. Like these guys have to have a fall somewhere.
And I know Justin Fields went to Ohio State.
Yes,
but my point is why keep playing around when you have a young 22-year-old Justin Fields who literally showed down the stretch last season that he can play in this league, and obviously has great legs. But you just got to corral this passing game a little bit. Get him the proper coaching. Get him some more weapons. Some guys that are worth the crap, and then you can make something out of this guy.
But coaching and weapons. It's all about getting him some coaching and some weapons.
But that's what I'm saying with Justin Fields here is this: they gotta have a fall guy somewhere, and the quarterbacks might be the fall guy because they're not their guy. He's not their guy. It's either being this year or next year.
But Tanner, if they said he's not their guy, because I haven't seen anyone out there from this new management that says that.
Not yet. I think it's coming, dude.
The only thing I don't like Fields that he said recently was that he doesn't like playing in cold weather.
Well, nobody does.
Sure, but you don't say it.
I know. Nobody does.
But that's the only thing. I mean, otherwise it's just you can't just give up on the dude.
I know Josh Allen doesn't like the cold weather because Bart Scott had to tell him to take Viagra before that playoff game.
Oh, that's right.
Year.
Yeah, that's right.
Just to get to try to get the blood flow moving through his cock or something like that. I don't know.
Right. But that would not be fun to play with a boner because that'd be pretty scary. Start running your dick into some helmets and you're gonna have trouble.
So Mike, Jason, I don't know if you've looked into it all the way yet. Scott does have a question for you around the draft.
Yeah.
What do you think about this Anthony Richardson love for the Florida quarterback?
I do like him quite a bit just because of obviously the height, weight, speed, and he also is I think he's also a redshirt sophomore.
Mm-hmm.
I need to spend more time watching him, and obviously the combines this weekend, so we'll have that to look forward to. I think that he's one of those dudes that's kind of come up quick, and I want to see if it really projects to the next level. But I do like Anthony Richardson because I see why teams would see more potential in him over some guys like Young and Will Levis as well. So I think that he's right now interesting to me, but I don't want to say anything too soon yet about my thoughts on him, other than I like what he has to work with.
He did bulk up. I don't know if you saw the pictures.
He's weighing.
He did bulk up.
235 right now. Is that what he's at?
Yeah,
was that
something
his
like that,
weigh in? I believe was somewhere around there.
He looked way better this time around.
So yeah, I'm not worried about that by any means. I think he looks good on paper. I'll put it that way.
Jason Tufel says, "Don't worry, it's Josh Allen. The length of his erection poses no danger in a football game." Scott says the Colts love him. I think that's where that's where they're going. So,
yeah, I mean, if you're the Colts and some team jumps up to number one and then takes a guy like Bryce Young, maybe that's their guy, then you can get stuck with Richardson. That's not a bad deal. I mean, I'll take that trade off if I'm the Colts. So I'm sure in that case they could also be the first team I mentioned as far as the trade with. If you're the Bears, is that if you're the Bears, say we'll hold you hostage. We know the guy you want, then we'll give it away to this team behind you and that team behind you. We're going to take Anthony. We're going to take Anthony Richardson. We heard,
Yeah,
play some games, play some mind games. If you're the Bears, you're trying to get the most out of this you possibly can. And if that means the Colts at that point are going to go, okay, damn it, we'll go in and give up next year's first to make the deal. So
yep,
that's how some of that shady stuff goes down every once in a while. So, anyways, yeah. Any final thoughts on the Bears and that situation? Number one overall
right now.
Yeah, we'll dig more into our draft thoughts as time goes on, of course, and obviously we're gonna talk about the Chiefs and our thoughts surrounding which direction they need to lean with that 31 overall pick. That's right, Tanner, 31, because there were some bad boys in the NFL this year that got banned from that first round pick.
Dolphins,
right? So I think just real quick, the K-State D end is probably my current favorite pick at that spot. If he falls that far, we'll see.
I wouldn't mind.
Where do you have him on your little rankings, Tanner? You have him on that list? Because he's projected to be late first, and
I got him number 7 on my
number 7
for the edge.
Oh,
Position.
7 at the edge position. Okay,
yes.
That's fair.
He's more of an edge, I think, to me. Kind of reminds me of
he's an edge.
Passanio in a way.
A
little better Passanio.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah,
the length and everything.
I get that. He looks good. I've obviously been to a few K-State games this year, but I think he looks good on paper and also from Kansas City area. So I think that he'd probably like that as well. So, anyways, you guys, Jason, do you have something else to talk about maybe some Ja Morant news that's not related to punching teenagers?
We can talk about Kevin Durant.
Oh, Kevin Durant.
You want to talk about
Ja Morant? That was the news of Ja Morant.
That was the news. So that was new news then.
There's a lot of stuff out there. Like it's all coming out all at the same time.
I was like, I haven't heard anything.
There's like 2 or 3 different stories that happened in the past, and we're not going to get into it right now. I mean, I feel like the biggest issue right now is like you've got LeBron James, who just got injured, and now so the Lakers are basically off the table in the West. They're not going to be. A lot of people were hopeful that the Lakers could maybe sneak into the playoffs and make some noise. That's not going to happen because LeBron he's done at least for the next 2 to 3 weeks. And Anthony Davis is not even playing.
Back-to-back. It was a back-to-back game and he can't even play.
So the West is changing very rapidly. We don't know what's going to happen with Ja Morant with these allegations, but they are currently the number 2 seed. And so that leads into our NBA topic, which is about what's Kevin Durant going to do in his first game with the Suns, because the Western Conference guys was wide open before this news all came out today about LeBron James being injured and Ja Morant having some legal issues. So the West is wide open. So like it's all about Phoenix right now. I feel like that's the storyline. How is Kevin Durant going to gel? What's the chemistry going to look like on this new team? And obviously we know their defense is probably going to be pretty shitty, but I still have them as the favorites to win the West. So what do you guys thoughts on the Suns?
I'll just tell you from watching the game today, Kevin Durant looked pretty smooth with that team, and he helped make Booker a better player. I felt like out in the court, and he was limited a little bit today, so he didn't play the full amount of minutes you'd expect. But in those minutes, I think he played 25 minutes, put up 23 points and 5 rebounds, a couple assists. But he was from the paint. I think he was 10 of 14.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean that's really good. That's typical Kevin Durant type of game right there. Going out there, just looks the part right away. They looked comfortable together from everything I saw. So once he's fully healthy, and playoffs are down the road, obviously coming up in May and June, July,
April,
maybe just going on to October. Who knows?
April 15th when the playoffs.
Because the NBA, because then they go on until November. But yeah, well, I'm looking forward to seeing that Kevin Durant whenever he's fully integrated into their scheme and into what they do well. Because guys like CP3, they're awful. CP3 is awful. That he's going to hold that team back when it comes playoff time. And the only savior that we have at this point, if you're a Suns fan, is Kevin Durant to come in there and get this team above ground, because we all know how CP3 does. Today he was 1 for 7, made a 2-pointer, He was awful.
Well, and Booker can't do
That
it
was
by
it.
himself every game.
So here's the thing about CP3. Like, we've all known that he's basically been washed ever since he left the Houston Rockets. They were close when he was on the Rockets to winning a championship. He couldn't get it done because he got injured. Well, that feels like a lifetime ago. And now, what is he, like 38 years old? And so not only is he old and washed, he can't play defense because he never could play defense. Kevin Durant is an excellent defender, but you're not going to ask him to play any defense. Devin Booker is an excellent defender. You're not going to ask him to play defense. These guys all have to put up points. And so now that they've traded away Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, those guys, like, I just don't know where the defense is going to come from, but they still have a chance because, like I said, the West is wide open. And this is going to be an interesting storyline coming down to the wire because I think this is going to end up, I don't know if it'll be in the Western Conference Finals, but you will see a Golden State Warriors versus KD in this year's Western Conference playoffs. I hope to God it's in the conference finals because that would be a great storyline. You know, KD going up against his old team and getting thrashed by Steph Curry because everybody's written off the Warriors by now, right? Because everybody's all in on the Suns, you know, yours truly included.
It's like,
However,
how do they write them out?
However, Steph Curry's been out for a while now, and he's going to be coming back. And they are the reigning world champions. And so that's going to be my favorite thing to watch is whenever that series happens, because it will happen. The Golden State Warriors will face the Suns, and that's basically whoever wins that series. I mean, it could happen in the first round. That's completely logical that it could happen in the first round. Whoever wins that series will go on to win the West. But again, my major concern with the Suns is just like you got a whole lot of scoring and, you know, you're not going to be making a whole lot of stops on that team.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting on the Suns side because you have the Kings out here winning 4 games in a row already. They're 7-3 the last 10. Memphis, Nuggets. I mean, Memphis, we all got to wait for this John Morant thing to figure itself out. But I think it's up to the Nuggets, the Kings, and the Suns to win this West here. And Scott kind of agrees here. He says the team we'll watch out for is Sacramento. He's putting 100 on Sacramento to win the West.
Oof.
So Tufel says, no, nothing to basketball. I hope whenever the team comes on the court, they play the Beatles. Here comes the sun for the
Here
Suns.
comes the sun.
Do.
I would
That'd be
almost
fun.
I would take Denver, I think, before I would take Sacramento. And I'm not a big believer
Scott's
in Denver
all in
either.
on
Hey,
Sacramento,
Sacramento, man,
so I don't know.
they've been nonstop. They're the only one of the only teams that have not lost their spot.
You know what? If they would just move their asses back to Kansas City, then I would be all in.
You'd be okay
I would
then.
place bets.
So
on
it's
that shit.
more of a personal hate on the Kings. than
I don't
anything.
hate them. I seriously, I want a damn NBA team. I hope they move back at some point.
So
So
you just like teams from LA, though. That's your problem. You think Sacramento is like the little redheaded
Yeah.
stepchild of California.
Sacramento is just, you know, they need to get rid of that team. I mean, that whole city is going to implode anyway. So just I want to have an NBA team in Kansas City. So why not have it be the Kings? I'd take De'Aaron Fox.
we all know.
I'd go
Seattle's
watch
getting a
De'Aaron
team
Fox.
before
That's
us.
too late. He'll be retired and long gone before that ever
That's
happens.
true. Yeah, he will be retired.
Yeah, I don't know about all that. I don't know. I'm excited to see how it unfolds, I guess, for the Suns, just because being a Suns fan, because I gave up on the season, a month ago. But otherwise, I fully believe that, no one should have ever written off the Warriors, Jason. So some people you say might have believed that or said that, but
Everybody
know-
believes it.
I know
They've
for
been-
me, all that matters is what happens in May and
3-game
June.
win streak, man.
And we know that.
That's
We
all that
know that
matters.
on this show, but the people look at the standings, they say, oh, they've been at or below 500 for the entire
Doesn't
season.
matter.
And Steph Curry's injured. They think it's over. It's over. And, fortunately for us, NBA fans, if Steph comes back healthy, which he most likely will, that's a team that could definitely throttle everybody in the West. I don't see them winning the finals this year because I think the Celtics have a vendetta against them. And I think the Celtics play amazing defense and they will totally throttle the Golden State Warriors this year if there's a rematch.
Yeah, here's my thing with this Warriors right now. If they're the 5th seed currently, going in right behind the Suns, they've won 3 games in a row. If they stay number 5, I don't think they get past the Suns or anybody else above them. But if they stay at the 5 seed, and Curry comes back, there's no chance that they're not in the finals.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Suns are the favorite on paper, but
man,
when
the
you
Warriors.
when you have that championship pedigree, I mean, nobody wants to play Golden State. I mean, you know that. Like they're even if Kevin Durant has to
Yeah.
play again, Kevin Durant's gonna be scared shitless if he has to go up against
Yes.
the Warriors.
Scott makes a good point. It could be Phoenix and Golden State in round 1.
That'd be fun.
That would be so. I'd be
Yeah,
scared shitless.
that's what I said.
Yeah,
I said
that'd be a fun
that's
matchup.
what I said a little bit earlier. They will face each other,
Right.
and it's potentially in the first round.
That would terrify me. I'd be like, man, this could be real. Because here's the thing: if Phoenix was to win that situation, I'm assuming, okay, we're going all the way to the finals. There's also a very good possibility that they get beat, and then it's game over, and then Golden State, has a great shot at it.
I tell you what, if and when that series happens, I am taking CP3 off of the floor in the fourth quarter. I'm putting Cam Payne in there. At least you get a little bit of length. Cam Payne is not like an elite defender, but he's a lot younger and he's got the length that he could at least, make some stops. CP3, like they just all you can do is just hide him. You can try to hide him on defense. He's not going to stop anybody. I would throw Cam Payne out there in the fourth quarter to try to make some stops.
Who would be your NFL comparison to what CP3 is currently in the NBA? Who would be a good
Ooh,
NFL comparison to what kind of
so he was formerly good, and
Old
then
as
he's
shit.
crap the bed.
just an awful performer when it matters?
who's the oldest superstar in the
I know where you're
NFL
gonna
that
go
was
with
actually
this.
worth a shit?
I
I
know
mean,
where
yeah,
you're
I
gonna
mean,
go. I know where you're gonna
it's
go
hard-
with this, Mike.
I'm just trying to think all time, even like I'm thinking like game managers, because CP3 is a game manager. I mean, he's a distributor.
He's Brett Favre.
He's not Brett
He's
Favre.
Brett Favre,
He's not
dude.
Brett Favre. No.
Dude, because
First
Brett
of all,
Favre was amazing, and then he just started giving it to the other team. That's
He
what
did
CP3
that- no,
is doing.
He did that his
He
whole
always
career,
did.
Yeah,
first
I
of
know,
all.
I know.
And Brett Favre at 40 years old had his best year of his career. So
I know,
it's
I
not
get
that. What I'm saying is somebody who's just a distributor, not out there to make plays, just there to pass the ball around and shit the bed when it's up to them to make something happen. I'm thinking like Rex Grossman or some shit like that. I don't know.
CP3 was a superstar, man. He could score with the best of them.
At one point, yeah, I know.
So you got to think
Not
of
anymore.
an elite.
It's horrible.
You have to think of an elite player in the NFL that never won any championships and then became old
I feel
and
like-
then shit
You
himself.
know what? I asked this. Hold on. I asked this question 2 years ago. We said Phillip Rivers.
We did.
That's who we said. Was Phillip Rivers.
That's fine.
who it
This,
said.
Yeah. No,
the-
that's perfect.
You know what this answer is, and he's not even old yet. Justin Herbert.
Herbert.
no,
when
no,
it comes
no.
to being clutch, he can't become clutch.
No, it's Phillip Rivers.
Well,
but
we
you
know it's
you know,
Phillip
you know what the
Rivers.
difference is? Phillip Rivers got out at the right time. CP3 is hanging around forever, dude. It's completely
Well,
different.
Chris Paul.
You're gonna like
is-
this comment.
Chris Paul is like rookie Tom Brady game managing the team. I like it, Scott.
Yeah, it's bad stuff. It's not fun because he's gonna get
Oh,
up. Well,
truthful Herbert comparison confirmed. Telling you, it's about you. We talked about being clutch and everything. A guy that can pass around all day long, but when it comes down to winning the game, beating the Raiders to go to the freaking playoffs, couldn't do it. Beating the Jags after being up 27, whatever it was, 27-0, couldn't do it. Clutch gene isn't there. It's just like Chris Paul.
yeah, I mean, I guess
It's just a younger version.
I don't know. I don't know if I like it or not because I still have faith in Herbert to
I
figure
do
it
too.
out. You know
I
what
think
mean?
I think Herbert will figure something. He'll get a one win in the playoffs.
He'll get one win in the
Yeah,
playoffs.
he'll figure it out.
Maybe
He'll
one day-
figure it
one day
out
he'll get one.
Unless he leaves or whatever the Chargers.
He'll figure out unless he has shitball coaches for the rest of his career.
Gosh, well, with that owner,
Right.
might as well just leave.
Oh, I wouldn't want to be there if I was a coach with that owner. So
Yeah.
be getting the hell out of that place. God damn it. So, so what do you guys have up? What's next? What's next on your minds to wrap up the show for the next few minutes?
You know, I won't talk about it with you guys here tomorrow. Though we on the Whiskey Sports Podcast, we're talking NCAA, just basketball here. Conference tournaments have started for the the weaker conferences, but the big tournaments start here this Saturday. Troy, JG's brother, will be on, as well as Keith Engel and Ashton Nix will be on. So super excited to get those conversations going away tomorrow on the Whiskey Sports. And then JG and I we'll be here Saturday at some point, doing the in the hoop, talking your latest NBA news.
So where we at, Tanner, on KU going back to back this year?
I like it. I think there's I'm gonna give it a 47.8% chance.
Hasn't
that
happened since the Florida Gators back in like the late 2000s. I think
The Donovan team.
but that was a great team with Al Horford, right, and Joakim Noah,
And
Corey Brewer.
Billy Donovan was coaching it all
Yes,
up.
that was a great roster that was able to accomplish that. And so if KU could accomplish something like that, I think it would even be better than what Florida did back then.
Scott, who I got winning, honestly, my favorite right now, even though they're like 13th currently ranked, is Tennessee. I really think I just like this Tennessee team on it. So, but that could change here come Selection Sunday when I see a bracket.
Carrington said on the radio he thinks Alabama is the best team in the nation. But that's just he's not going to admit KU, so he would never say that.
You know, Alabama has too much drama going on.
Didn't they lose to Oklahoma or something like
they
that?
lost to Oklahoma.
They suck.
But aren't they
dude.
ranked number 1 still?
No, they're two.
Two?
Houston's one.
Houston's 1? Oh, wow.
I'll take Houston all day. And
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm proud of you. You knew that.
Houston's better than Alabama, dude, easily.
Yeah.
Alabama's they're gonna be a choke artist. No doubt.
But Troy will be on with us tomorrow with Keith Engel and Ashton Nix tomorrow on the Whiskey Sports Podcast. So super excited to talk some college basketball.
Yeah. So, any Chiefs thoughts right now coming up?
I don't have any
Yes.
right now.
Yeah.
I mean,
don't have a lot.
There's not a lot of news
There's-
that's happened, and combine
because
this
we
weekend.
did
still
hear
to
from
look at.
Brett Veach though this week, just kind of some
Yeah.
just wrap up thoughts of combine and situations with the contracts going on, and Orlando Brown Jr. and what they're going to do with him, and just some banter. Carrington actually had him on the radio and recommended trading L'Jarius Sneed to Brett Veach, and let's just say Veach pretty much shot that down. He's just basically saying, like, because Carrington's like, I think it'd be a great idea to trade away now. Here's my thought: you get all these corners that are really young. Don't pay L'Jarius, and just keep drafting young corners, and then you never have to pay them. So
Dude,
if
the
Veach
thing-
heard him say this, he kind of laughed, but he was like, I'm not having it.
The thing about Snead is, like, I mean, Brett Veach and everybody else knows that Spags loves this guy. And I think they'll do everything in the world to keep him. But my point would be, if you're Brett Veach and you're, having all these interviews and stuff, you got to keep everything close to the vest, to the point where if somebody asks you a question, you just need to lie to them and tell them the exact opposite of what you're thinking, because you don't want word to get out there about what you're going to really do in the draft, because you want to just keep it a secret and,
That's what he does.
do what you believe in.
As long as he doesn't trade our first round pick away.
I just thought it was kind of funny hearing a guy on the radio recommend. He's like, I think you should do this, GM. And it's just like, nah, that's the. But I agree with you. Even if he was interested in trading L'Jarius Sneed, it's not something you'd want to get on there and say, "Oh, we're open to the idea of it."
Give me
You
a
know.
call.
Yeah, well,
on
keep in mind
three.
that Carrington is also a guy that thinks that In-N-Out burger sucks. It's the worst burger he's ever had in his life. So you
Right.
got to, whatever that guy says, you take it with a grain of salt.
All right, he's
So,
not the best with opinions, I suppose.
Uh,
He's got to work on those a little bit.
just an entertainment piece. So, guys, I just want to state too, everything at the beginning of the show around the Jalen Carter is all alleged stuff currently. So, don't get too excited.
Right. It's alleged, but
Everything's
we're
alleged.
gonna assume there's some truth to it. We don't know how much. We don't know all the details yet, but obviously this isn't nearly as bad as what happened. What was it, 3 or 4 years ago? The tackle, gosh, what can I remember? Larry
Tunsil
Tunsil situation, where that video came out right before the draft
of the
of him
mask.
smoking a bong mask.
Wasn't that the Pat Mahomes draft?
No, it wasn't that far back. I don't think.
I think that was the Patrick Mahomes
Has
draft.
my life gone by that fast?
We were in
That
Fox and the
was-
Hound.
that
That's
might have
Patrick
been the
Mahomes.
same
Are you
one.
We were
serious?
in that room to the. Look, man,
Dude, if it was that draft, then my life is like flashing before my eyes. It was just like, that's crazy. I don't know. It felt like it was like 3 or 4 years ago, but
Well, when the Chiefs win like 2 Super Bowls in 4 years, you don't really care about time
You lose-
anymore.
you
You
lose
don't
track of-
really
I
care.
lose track of all that stuff.
2016.
No, it wasn't.
Yep.
16?
16.
So it was before the Mahomes draft.
Dak
Yep.
Prescott draft.
What in the blue hell?
DeMarcus Robinson.
All right. Well, anyways, I remember that being such a shock. It feels like it was more recent
shit.
than that, but Anyways,
Jared Goff draft.
see, that was some messed up. That was some blackmail going on in that
Oh,
situation.
that was bad.
So
That was
somebody had a
bad.
vendetta for that guy. So yeah, that's crazy though. 2016. That's not at all what I thought that was. That's a long ass time ago.
Oh, it's
Uh,
insane.
yeah. So any combine thoughts? Obviously, this weekend coming up. I already told you guys that my favorite position groups to watch at the NFL Combine are I like defensive linemen. I like to watch the defensive backs, and then on the offensive side, I enjoy watching the receivers perform. That's probably my top three positional guys to be keeping an eye on during everything. Little shout out to the O line though, because it's always good to watch the footwork at work over there in some of these drills. So I do like that too.
Scott Cobb's show could be next time next Tuesday on the LTS network. Is it something I might have to talk to one of my colleagues about? I think I know what you want. So cool. We'll get into it.
Nice.
All right, guys. Everybody, thanks for watching.
Yeah. Thanks for tuning in with us.
Commenting
one more
in.
time and
We appreciate
enjoying
it.
a sober show with the buffoons. You know, we kept it cool, not too wacky like last week, you know. But we'll bring back some wackiness here coming up pretty soon. Don't worry about that, because next week we're gonna have the combine will be over with. We'll have a lot to dig into with that, as well as whatever interviews went down.
that'd be
We'll learn
cool.
more about all that stuff, as well as us personally are gonna spend more time digging into some draft prospects, and we're gonna pick out some guys that we really want to hone in on. And I do this every year, as far as, you know, I'll fall in love with a certain player.
Yes.
It happens
you do.
every gosh darn year where I'll become obsessed with somebody, and I'm not sure that guy's gonna be yet, but I'll sit through. I have a whole weekend worth.
Remember when you
of,
loved
all that.
Clyde? Like when we picked him, like you were just
Well,
jumping up.
Dude,
and
you
down.
have a
I
T-shirt.
thought
You have
we
his
were
T-shirt.
first of all, I thought we'd throw him the ball. I loved him because he could be a receiving back, something he never became with the Chiefs. Worth a crap. So, you know, Darrell Williams caught more passes last year than Clyde did. So, that's my problem with Clyde. I thought he'd be a third down back that could be used as a change of pace. We tried to use him as like the true number one for a season, and it's like that's never really what I thought he'd be. I just thought he'd be kind of a plug-in guy that could do some Sproles-like activities out there.
Gotcha.
But that didn't-
Most
that didn't
important
work.
thing, by next week, I think we'll have some more information on the decision by Aaron Rodgers on what he wants to do with his career. So that's the most
He
exciting.
did
thing,
come out of the
guys.
darkness last week, so
Yes,
Early too.
the NFL
Was it
does
early?
not.
Yeah.
The NFL doesn't move until Aaron Rodgers makes his decision. Right? It's like
that right?
LeBron. It's like LeBron James back in 2009.
We
It's
are-
the decision.
We are a little under 2 weeks soon to be before free agency begins. So
right. March 15th is free
13th.
agents 13th. Is that
13th.
what it's at now?
Yep.
Gosh. All right.
I know, right?
Time is just flying. You know, I thought Larry Tunsil was smoking a bong 2 days ago. So I mean, here I am. Maybe I need a beer to wake me up or something. I don't know.
Anyways, if you guys want to bet on it, I've told you guys this 100 times. He's going to play for the Raiders next year. Okay, so if you haven't bet on it yet, just throw some money down, because it's almost like my easy money bet at this
Scott
point.
wants to know if we're going on a darkness retreat. So the next Buffoons live episode outside of the studio, we'll be all in the darkness retreat. So
Yeah, what do you think about that? We could do a darkness where we could actually make it to where we have, you know, those green lights basically, where we could all sit there. We can't see each other in the room, but we could glow maybe for the camera. That would be kind of fun, right? That way the camera could see us, but we couldn't see each other.
Here's
So
the thing
that'd be
about that, the darkness retreat, guys. Like, I'm pretty sure it costs the same amount of money or more than it costs to get into the World Series of Poker final, you know, that final table. The main event is what I'm trying to say. $10,000. I'm going to go play in the World Series of Poker. If I've got that kind of money just laying around that I want to burn, I'm not going to do a darkness retreat. Okay.
I mean, we can make it audience interactive too. So you know, there's
Well, if
ways.
the show begins next week and it's pitch black for the first couple minutes,
You'll
you're gonna know why. So, either that or Tanner screwed up again. Damn it! Oh,
Darn it.
no, Tanner's great. He's always like one plugging away with this whole thing and doing our IT work in the background. So he's got some ideas all the time. So obviously you guys see on the screen today that he's got some upgrades in the works. So more to come with that, I'm sure. And he's got a pretty cool mixer that he got recently. So
Hell yeah.
anyways, you guys, I'm fulfilled. I feel good about this. I probably should drink some water because I'm a little dry.
Parched.
So much for dry March. And any final words?
Yeah, just tune in Saturday, guys. It's NBA time. So we got to figure out what's going on with Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving because they're playing like shit right now. So Tanner and I are going to hit on that on Saturday.
Yep.
Very cool.
All right, guys. We'll catch you later.
I'll see you on the next one.
Outro.
See you guys.